Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Nikki Maduro. She is Kim McAllister. Thank you all for joining us on this Thursday. It's a long weekend. I know we had the National Day of Mourning, for Jimmy Carter's. I feel like this coming Monday is like part 2, right? We're going to talk about the inauguration coming up, and whether or not you guys are going to be watching it. I was telling Kim before the show, the whole phrase like pulling a Michelle means you're not going to something. Now, she didn't go to Jimmy Carter's funeral as well. I don't know what's going on there. I kind of feel like she was laying the groundwork for not going to
They
the
said it
inauguration.
conflicted with something, but what we know about Michelle Obama is that because it was for Jimmy Carter, she probably would have, in a normal world, dropped whatever she had and
Of
made her way
course.
there. Because that's kind of, she's
That's
got
a big
class.
deal. Yes.
But when she found out she was sitting next to El Trumpo,
Yeah,
I mean, then you have to go. How do you sit right next
I'm
to
not
him?
going.
Like,
No.
rub arms with him in the pew.
And she doesn't have to. That's the whole thing. So we're going to talk about the inauguration, and I want to hear from you guys on whether or not you're going to watch, and more importantly, because we're hearing from people that aren't going for various reasons, perhaps. Should politicians specifically who spoke out about the danger of Donald Trump sit their butts down at that inauguration just under this, whole peaceful transfer of power? Now, when we get into it, there is that idea of the peaceful transfer of power, but there's also sitting there and watching this crap happen. So we will talk about that. The update on the ceasefire, of course, and I know, I think Teacher Lori was mentioning it also in the comments. There has been a delay, still hoping that it will happen on Sunday. But the vote for the ceasefire has been delayed. Apparently, there's been some sort of rift, according to the New York Times, with Hamas and a far-right minister's threat to resign. That's complicated the process, although the United States is still hoping that that will still happen on Sunday. So we will be keeping our eye out for that. Of course, even after the ceasefire was announced by President Biden, there was still there's some deaths and
86
it's very
people killed in Gaza since that. Isn't that the weirdest thing? You would think once
it's not weird though. It's like
I haven't signed anything yet.
Right.
But you would think once they have an understanding and they're trying to thaw these icy relations that they would be like, okay, they tell their people, let's chill. Let's calm down. And no, it's like, what are we going to kill people right up into the moment the document is signed?
Pretty much. I heard one commenter say something, and it's really tragic. It's like, imagine going out onto the street and celebrating the end of the war and then being killed when you do so. Like just how devastating that is. And that's this war. It is so awful. And so, I think we're just all praying that this war comes to an end. So that hopefully will happen on Sunday as well. So we're keeping our eye on that. Okay, let's get into President Biden's address to the nation last night. I watched it. I don't think that he, again, I was watching it with an eye and an ear of, could he have been our president for the next 4 years again? Right. And again, he still didn't have that, that
it was
thing.
Better.
It was better. It wasn't,
You know what I think? I think he thinks clearly.
Yeah, it just doesn't come out clearly.
But the speech, where people get older and they kind of have a mush mouth thing going on.
Exactly.
It's hard to hear, and it makes it hard to understand.
Right.
That doesn't mean, could he have done the job?
Oh, absolutely.
Probably yes. Could he have been an effective communicator as he has been in most of his career? Likely not.
Yeah. And in this time of American history where you're going up against people that honestly need tough talk, right? We're going up against this MAGA, really, honestly, kind of vengeful, hateful rhetoric. You need to speak with stern language, right? And it needs to be quick. And I just don't think, obviously, that Biden was up for that. We saw that in the debate, which led to everything that we saw. But I do want to play, obviously, the clip. This is a clip that was the big clip, the big warning to Americans that I don't think was surprising literally anybody, because this is what we know. I mean, this is the warning. Hold on, let me get it ready. This was the warning that we've all been talking about, because we know this already. We know what's coming because we've seen this slow motion crash coming for several years now. So here's President Biden.
This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. The dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy, just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn their fair share. You know, they were dealt into the deal, and it helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen.
And now it's not just the United States, but this world is literally run by a handful of ultra, ultra, ultra wealthy men.
Yep.
And I was listening to, I think I was listening to KQED or NPR this afternoon. They were speaking to a reporter from Wired, and it was pretty frightening when she was putting this into kind of perspective. Not just an Elon Musk, right? You know, trillions of dollars being controlled by, just when you think about it, very few people, and they are largely men. So we're not just talking about an oligarchy, we're also throwing in a patriarchy. And think about this. I mean, these are just human people.
It's a patriarchal oligarchy.
Exactly. Which isn't surprising. I mean, and there was a question, one of the anchors asked, you know, why is it that it's, you know, all men? And it's like, because they've had centuries a head start. You know what I mean? Like, because that's kind of just the way the world was created, right? But if you think about it, it can be really frightening that if these small group of men want to, some of them are obsessed with AI, right? I mean, the decisions that they make for billions of people on this planet. Think about that. That is so much control. Now, if you want to just, you know, take it just to the United States, I mean, look what's happening. And you have these voters in these red states thinking that billionaires understand them, that these billionaires are looking out for them. And I don't get it. I just don't understand why they think that these people are really putting the middle class and the low class ahead of them and their wealth.
You know,
their bottom line matters.
What our first clue was when Trump said, hey, if you pay $1 billion, all those environmental rules will wipe them away for you.
Even as LA burns and we see climate change right up to our front door, they don't care. Drill, baby, drill. They don't care.
Trump's energy nominee said yesterday that the connection between wildfires and climate change is what did he call it? Not a hoax, but along those lines. Yeah, he said it's gobbledygook. This doesn't make any sense. So they believe that anyway. And now they're selling America. They're selling it to the highest bidder. You know, $1 million each. You saw these three guys. They've each forked over $1 million for the inaugural ceremony.
And look at Bezos. Bezos says he wants a community checks on the news because he does and political bias, just like X. If you
So
go
in the
on X,
in the same
it's
way that he
insane.
prevented his newspaper
Right,
from having an opinion
right.
and being part of free speech in that way.
It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And when you can control the news, when you can control the information and how it is disseminated. And again, people, you could tell people, do your own research, right? Dig for, facts and things like that. We have been trained like little monkeys, right?
Mhm.
To scroll, and we want it quickly. Why do you think they're trying to save TikTok? Why do you think Trump gives a shit about TikTok?
Yeah.
One, he wants to score points, right, with the younger
Yeah.
generation. But he understands that, wait a minute, I can use this to my advantage. This is where so many people are getting their information. And if I could tap into this, I can, and I'm going to use the word manipulate the information and the way they get it. I mean, it's so simple. And when you don't care about truth and you have a president that has proven time and again, and I'm not making this up. This is not political bias.
Mhm.
Donald Trump does not care about the truth.
Nope.
He only cares about things that go along with the story that he wants. That is facts. Facts. He has not proven any of the lies that he has told. People just bought his BS hook, line, and sinker, and for some godforsaken reason, put him back into the White House. So I just, this country, unfortunately, is going to get what it voted for, or at least half of Americans voted for, and I'm so disappointed. And I'm. Anyways, Bernie Sanders was questioning during the confirmation hearings the nominee for the Treasury Department, billionaire. Now again, being a billionaire is insane. Okay, just anyways, billionaire hedge fund manager Scott Bessent. Okay, and all he wanted to know is, do you think that this concentration of wealth within our government that's going to happen, if it is an oligarchy, right? And he laid it out for him pretty simply. And of course, being these people as they are, the guy just can't answer the friggin' question.
Is when you have a handful of people like Musk, who will soon be part of the Trump administration, and others, when you have three people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society, when these people have enormous influence over the media, when they spend huge amounts of money in both political parties to elect candidates, what Biden said last night is we're moving toward an oligarchy. I'm asking you that question. Do you think, forget how they made their money, do you think that when so few people have so much wealth and so much economic and political power, that that is an oligarchic form of society?
Well, I would note that President Biden gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to two people who I think would
cares?
qualify for his oligarchs.
Who cares?
So
This is not a condemnation of any one individual. I'm just asking you, when so few people have so much wealth and power,
but
do you think that that is an oligarchic form of society?
Senator, I think it depends on the ability to move up and down the income.
No, that's
chain.
not really the answer. I mean, even if you had that mobility, no matter who those individuals might be. All right, but let me ask you another question.
Okay, and
Guy's
that's
not
and
gonna
then just
answer
kinda
him.
moves on. He's not going to
He's
answer.
not gonna. No.
And it is an oligarchy. I mean, you have so much wealth, so much control, and you have basically, you can control the president. I mean, look at Elon Musk. He has been a wart on Donald Trump's side since he got elected. I don't think he's left the White House or Mar-a-Lago since the guy got elected. It's insane. I
Did
just,
you did you notice that
ugh,
whataboutism though? So Bernie Sanders asks a specific question,
yeah.
and the answer is, well, President Biden awarded the Medal of Freedom to these
What?
two rich
Who
people.
gives a well, who
So
cares?
there's
What does that
so
matter?
instead of answering the question, it's highlighting the other party and pointing out something you perceive to be negative about them and not really tackling the question. And that has been what to me has stood out about these confirmation hearings. They've been combative. They've
Well,
been, I think, nastier than most confirmation hearings. It's always going to be uncomfortable to have people,
right.
digging into your past and talking about, but usually you want the job. So while you may deflect and while you may spin, usually some questions get answered. But this time it just seems to be, we know we're going to get confirmed. We don't have to answer your questions. As a
Exactly.
matter of fact, I'm going to turn it around and yell at you, person
Right.
who I need to impress to vote for me.
Exactly.
It's been a weird one, I think.
Well, and the other thing is with Bernie Sanders questioning right there, and this is why I do love Bernie Sanders. You notice he said on both political
Mhm.
parties do this. They use their money, they use their influence, they are
Sure.
influenced by the rich. I mean, this is the problem with Citizens United. This is why Citizens United is such a bad and was such a bad decision by the US Supreme Court and has ruined us. I mean, it's
Mhm.
literally ruined us. And it makes it so difficult to get this dark money out of politics. And there's no way of doing it because to get money out of politics, you'd have to lobby the people and they won't get their money out in order to do that. It's just this cycle that will never happen, and it's just absolutely frustrating and sad to watch. And I don't know how we fix it. I keep talking to my kids, and I think I've mentioned this before about how I keep looking to the younger generation. I was talking to my daughter, and she was even frustrated last night. She's like, and we're gonna have a president that doesn't believe in climate change. And part of me was proud that she was upset about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but at the other hand, I was like, okay, but you can't wallow. Like,
Mhm.
if you think about all of these things constantly, you'll never leave the house, right? I mean,
Right.
you just have to, pick yourself up and fight the good fight. But
Yeah.
it is so frustrating when you think so. The Associated Press literally did a laundry list of all of the things Donald Trump said he was going to do on day one. Okay. Day one, the guy's going to be really, really busy. He's going to launch the largest deportation in US history, close the border. He's going to end automatic citizenship for everyone born in the US, the birthright citizenship. Of course, he's going to pardon all the people that were convicted and charged on January 6th. That
That one chaps my hide. These are people who went against the
Thank
United States
you.
of America, who
Thank
attacked our
you.
democracy, who attacked voting, who were
Mhm.
trying to cheat.
Exactly.
I'm
And the
so
video of it, of them
and
climbing on the Capitol, beating security guards. You know what I mean? Like,
and
are
when
you
they did
kidding
that,
me?
it's not only what they did and how and why they did it, but the byproduct of that
Yeah,
was that they took some shine off of what was America.
absolutely. And we would
We
humiliated
had
us.
and maybe it was smoke and mirrors, but we had a system that we believed, past tense, believed in, that
Mhm.
everyone thought, okay, we have free and fair elections, we're doing it better than most of the countries in the world. This is, the shining city on the hill.
Right.
This is nothing can go wrong here because this is America and we have rules and we have a constitution and here we have these people coming in, and apparently there can be societal cleavages here just like there can be anywhere else.
Yeah.
And when we figured that out, it kind of made us, I think, a little more dull.
Yeah, it's taken the shine. It's
Yeah.
tarnished
Mhm.
us. Yes, absolutely. And again, pardoning those people, they committed those crimes. We all saw it. We all saw it with our own eyes. And for people to say, "Oh, it wasn't that bad," it's brainwashing and gaslighting at its finest.
Mhm.
To continue the laundry list of things Trump says he's going to do,
Great. Sorry.
impose a 25% tariff on everything imported from Mexico and Canada, and add a 10% tariff to duties already imposed on goods from China. Even before Monday, he's going to end the Russia-Ukraine war. So stay tuned for that. He's going to end what he calls the electric vehicle mandate. So this is the beginning of the end for all of this, the progress that we try to make on the environment as LA burns. Okay. So just, He's going to declare a national energy emergency to spur the approval of more drilling, pipelines, refineries, power plants, and reactors.
Can I roll you back for just a hot second?
Yeah.
When you talk about stripping away rules for electric cars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because Trump is coming into office.
Yeah.
California has now abandoned its diesel truck ban.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they were going to put that into place?
Right.
And 3 other clean air rules right before Trump is sworn in.
I know.
And this is according to Cal Matters. They say that even though the Biden administration approved the California Air Resources Board's mandate phasing out new gas-powered cars by 2035, they had not yet approved other waivers for 4 diesel standards that the state adopted. And because Trump threatened to revoke or challenge all zero-emission vehicle rules and California's other clean air standards by withdrawing its request for Environmental Protection Agency approval, the Newsom administration is signaling a dramatic step back as the state now has to recalibrate in anticipation of the new Trump era. So the things that we want to do here that require the partnership of the federal government are now being scaled back. So our air is going to be dirtier.
Yep.
Our standards are going to be less because he's coming into office. So if you
And
think
it
it doesn't affect
sucks.
California, it absolutely does. My
Like-
bad for interrupting. Carry
No.
on.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that because I forgot about that. And I did hear that. But the electric vehicle mandate and the clean cars and all of that, we as consumers, we can still make our opinions known on that, right? I mean, car manufacturers, if they are already, planning these vehicles, they're doing it years and years down the road. So I would say if you care about the environment, right? Continue your plan of buying more fuel efficient or electric vehicles because that's going to tell the car manufacturers who cares what Trump says, right? Who cares if he doesn't have this mandate? We should want with our dollars to show everybody that we want more efficient vehicles. We want cleaner cars. We don't want dirty air, right? This is how we show. We don't need the government to tell us or mandate something, right? We do it by buying certain things. Now, obviously, the diesel thing and all that sort of thing, we don't have all the control over that, but we do on the local level, on our consumer level. And that's what we need to continue to do. It is disappointing though that California has pulled back on that. But if you need the federal government's cooperation and you're not going to get it, what can you do? I love Vanessa. Can't we just secede already? The U.S. has nothing positive to offer California. They're just going to force us backward and take our money. This, and we're going to talk about this with the fires. This whole conditions on aid thing is pissing me off to no friggin' end.
Yeah. Especially since we pay more in taxes and all the other states suck up our money.
Right. We fund everybody. It's like, screw you asses. Like,
so
Jesus.
If we did secede as requested, then perhaps we would be in much better financial shape rather than trying to solve all the rest of the country's problems.
Exactly. I mean,
But
why do you go ahead?
What does that say about being American, though?
Thank you.
What does it say about loving America? We are American. So to say that we don't want to be part of America, it's
anti-American.
Yeah, I'm very conflicted because I'm mad at much of the country right now, but I also have not completely given up hope on us. You know what I mean?
That's the American in you.
I still want to think that after these 4 years that somehow we're still going to be able to be okay, that somehow we're going to find our way back to have all that shine again. This is what I hope. This is what I'm hoping for.
Well, I hope so. I hope the pendulum will swing back, right? I hope that we'll learn our lesson. I hope that this is the spanking that we truly needed. I hope that Trump just...
Here you go, lightweight.
Thank you.
Lightweight? What are you getting?
Last week on the Nikki Maduro show, my husband made me a kamikaze.
Right.
And it was huge.
It wasn't huge.
And it was huge.
It wasn't huge.
It was huge. And I drank it all.
You're a lightweight.
And I was dizzy and tipsy
You were
after the
drunk.
Nikki Maduro show.
I'm so proud of you, my friend.
Yeah. And so that was like not cool. Like, I had to go to bed early. I was supposed to do work for the Mark Thompson show. I was toast. And so this week, instead of a cocktail, I got a
Uh-huh.
milkshake. Yeah.
Aw, he
You're a
probably
lightweight.
did. He should have made it like a White Russian milkshake or something. That would have been funny. That would have been snuck something in there, a little Bailey's in there or something. No, all right, fine. I'll just have the cocktail on Cocktails and News. I'm holding up my end of the bargain.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we will talk about the conditions, but I'll also say this. I think that it's just, and we'll talk about it with the fires because I have some clips to play. But I understand what you're saying about being an American, because
Mhm.
I will say this. Whenever on the East Coast, they have their hurricanes and yet they rebuild year after year after
Yeah.
year. You don't hear us saying, maybe if they're mismanaging their coast by rebuilding over and over again and not paying attention to where to rebuild. We don't ever throw that crap in their
I
face.
do remember after Hurricane Katrina when New Orleans and Louisiana were underwater, and the experts were saying this is going to happen time and time again. There was discussion about, is it wide to rebuild in an area that has to be held back by levees that obviously are not in good shape, and what can we do and how can we do it differently? So, and these are people's homes, these are historic areas. I get that. I don't think it's a question of, and maybe in some cases it's a question of not rebuilding. Should the town of Paradise have rebuilt right in the same area? I don't know. But I think it also has to do with being smarter about how we rebuild. After the
Exactly.
fires in, I think it was Chicago, it was a horrible fire situation. And after that, there were new codes put into place. Every building had to have a sprinkler. All these new
Right.
policies were put into place. And then there were fewer fire deaths because of it. Clearly, we're going to have to look at building codes. Does every home in Los Angeles need a sprinkler system? Does
Mm,
every community need to have a certain amount of water available just in
mhm.
case,
Their
instead of
own
taking
water.
reservoirs
Yes.
offline? Does
Mhm.
every home need to have some type of water, storage system?
Yes.
We have to do things differently. Do we have to change the materials we build homes out of? All of these things should be on the table to discuss before we rebuild a community so that we rebuild it smarter.
Yeah, and we talked about that a lot last week,
Mhm.
and I was reading this article, this very wealthy guy in LA, he did a lot of the things that you were talking about, not everything though, and one of these fire experts actually came out and said, "There's some more things that you can do." He had the water, he had some sort of kind of coating on his house, he did a
Mhm.
bunch of things. His house still burned. It's
Ugh,
still gone, you know what I mean? But but then I was reading other things to make your house fireproof. Things that we've heard of and things that you wouldn't think of. The wooden decks need to go.
yeah,
You know what else
gone.
needs to go? Cushions on deck chairs. Like you
Really?
because these are the things that the embers catch. Like things
Yeah,
you
but
wouldn't think of.
see, I would think of that when the fires come, but if you know the fire's coming.
But that's not what you think of immediately, right?
Yeah.
So the ember
Mhm.
flows and it catches. So these are the things that you just don't do anymore. You don't have that deck, you don't have the umbrella, or if you do, you just don't have the cushions, right? So you
Mhm.
have an Adirondack chair without a cushion on it. See,
Right.
those probably an Adirondack chair not made of wood. I don't know.
You keep the
Um,
cushion in the house and bring it
or
out every time you
something
use the
maybe,
chair?
I don't know.
Something.
It's
Yeah,
just we have to rethink what your house looks like and what
yeah.
it's made out of. Fireproof roofs, stucco and I don't know, different
That's what
types
we
of
have.
things,
We have a
So
steel tile roof,
yeah,
and it was really expensive when we put it on, and we paid for it by going through, the Sonoma County some type of environmental office where they would lend you the money to put like a $20,000 roof on your house, and
there you
then it's
go.
it's attached to our property taxes, so we pay it back over time. So we're paying for the roof, but we just
Yeah, but
got it now. But it's much better than having some type of composite or wood
yeah,
roof where an ember
exactly.
hits it and it's poof,
It's
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe every house should have a moat, I mean, not a
No
moat,
kidding.
but
Mhm,
definitely a defensible space, not,
mhm.
not a garden, not trees right up to it. And again, and I know people really get on me when I say this, those homes in the hills. with
Yeah.
those trees that you love to see. I don't know if those homes should be rebuilt there. You know what I mean? Like, I know people love to live there,
Right.
but I don't know if they should be rebuilt there. I don't know if you should live amongst the trees unless you
Mhm.
want to get rid of the trees, right? Like, what would you rather see? Would you rather look at a hill with no trees because we want to keep the house there, or do we keep the trees and no house? Right? I mean, there has to be one or the other. So I don't know. I just kind of feel we need to just rethink development. And
Yeah.
then Gavin Newsom's getting a bunch of crap because apparently he's been giving all of these interviews about, clearing the red tape. Now, I will say this. For a state that has had a huge housing crisis for an extremely long time, I understand people saying, hell, why haven't we been doing this the whole entire time? On the other hand, I mean, this has just wiped out an entire town. If you count all the fires, they're saying what? It's larger than San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
So I understand why he's doing it for this specific area. But if we could do it for this specific area and build all this, different types of housing, then why can't we just do it across the state? Because of NIMBYs, right? Because nobody's
Mhm.
going to want to do it. Everyone's going to want to do it in Pacific Palisades. Try to do it in every neighborhood across California. I'm just really curious on what's going to get approved in Pacific Palisades and what's going to be fought against in Pacific Palisades, because I don't know what Pacific Palisades and all those areas are going to look like if he allows
Well,
high
they
density housing,
Yeah.
all different types of housing. Because remember, it's not just the richy rich
Yep.
that got their homes burned. It's people of all socioeconomic, levels.
They did a couple of things, Newsom's administration. They're making it easier for people to build, right?
Mhm.
Where the environmental regulations are going to be stopped, pardon me, so that people can rebuild faster. So they don't have to go through all of these environmental studies and all these things.
Right.
Okay. And they're also saying, because now people are out of their homes and they need other places to stay. And
Right.
so before the fire, you could maybe rent something for $3,000-$4,000 a month. The same landlord is now charging $8,000 to $10,000 a month. And so they're getting people for price gouging, and there's new laws
Which
about
they
that.
should.
I want to give you the update though on the numbers from this fire. Now we know at least 27 people are dead and 31 are missing. So
That's
that's a
awful.
that's a huge
That's awful.
that's huge. And it's really sad. And we're starting to hear more and more of these stories
And
about
it's going to be even higher than that.
people that have stayed behind. I think so too. We saw that in Lahaina,
Mhm.
where and sometimes it takes a while for people to come forward and say, I can't find my person, and to connect that with shards found in the burned out rubble of a home that
Yeah.
need to be DNA tested, or car, or what have
Ugh.
you. So it takes a long time to figure out who's missing and who didn't make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be devastating. I mean, and then again, all of these people, Speaker Johnson and others, coming out saying, well, we need to look into conditions on aid, all sorts of things like that. It's just really, it's adding insult to injury, especially because the fires are still going on. And I think
Mhm.
that's also the thing that just kind of pisses me off, because like we said before, when they've had disasters, we have stepped in and just been like, yes, we've, just approved it.
Mhm.
Congress has just approved it. There hasn't been any sort of, oh, well, basically there's been no politics being
Right.
played. When
Mhm.
people have been losing their homes and losing their lives, we understood that politics shouldn't be played. Trump is coming here next week. Trump's coming here next Friday. And
No,
not
thank
here,
you.
but LA. He's coming to LA next Friday.
No, we don't need that. He's not uplifting. He's not someone who's going to come and comfort people. He's going to come spout off a bunch of BS about California. And guess what? We don't need it right now.
Well, he's coming. Supposedly he's coming on Friday. He's going to go visit LA. I don't know why. Unless the fires are out, I don't understand why the president would need to come at this time and bring all the and take all these resources, because the president is coming, right? Like, now is not the time to come unless he's doing a flyover, which, why are you wasting resources to do that? just get your, update all the way in Washington or Florida or wherever the hell you're going to be, and just send us the aid that we need. That's all we need.
He
I'm
wants to
just not
come
looking
here
forward to
because
it.
it's a great political backdrop for him to spout off negative BS about California
Yeah.
and to hit the liberals and the liberal elites. This is what he wants to come do.
And
He
the
wants
ass
to
kissing is just going to
he,
continue starting
he
next
wants
week,
to
and I
come
can't
give
handle
us
it.
a hard time instead of help us.
Yeah, and he's going to make
That's
some
what it's going
snotty
to be.
remarks.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to have to look away. I just
Yeah.
have to. I
All
mean,
right.
I'm going to have to report it, but during that moment when I'm going to be so upset, I'm just going to have to know that it's coming and do my best to ignore, because
Okay.
that's what
Are
I'm
you
doing
going to
the next
watch?
4
Are
years.
you going to watch on Sunday? Who? Okay. This
No.
is, let me know in
Do
the
I have
comments.
do you
Who
think
is
I have
watching the
to?
inauguration on Monday? Who's going to watch it? Let me know. Kim, are you going to watch? You are the news person.
Yeah,
Are you going to watch?
I think I'm going to let the national folks do the heavy lifting on that.
Mhm.
And I'll look at the stories after that I can read in just a couple of minutes,
Right.
and I will look at the clips of notable things that happened.
Okay.
But other than that, I just don't think I can stomach it. I really can't stomach it.
Yeah.
This is a sad, dark day for America. And
And the whole
I
fact
really
that they're
do.
raising the damn flags is
Mhm.
so annoying. It's like
Ego
he's such a
City.
child. He is such a child. Calvin's gonna watch reluctantly. I love you, Calvin. Lady Beatrice, I'm boycotting that shit show. What time is it on? Like, because I have the day off. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I have the day off. I don't need to wake up. Hell no, I will not watch that farce. Kevin says I'll watch reluctantly to hear what he says. What is he gonna say?
Nothing
I'm
we
the
haven't heard
best.
before.
Yeah, I'm not wasting my time. Exactly. He's not gonna say anything different. And he's probably gonna be like, I've had the best crowd size. I mean, do we need to hear about crowd size again? Like, I just can't believe we're gonna go through another 4 years of this shit. I cannot believe we're gonna go through this again. I am so disappointed in so many things about this. Like, there is a part of me, and I'm just gonna say this, like, that is just so shocked still that we're doing this again. I'm just there's still a part of me that just still can't believe it. I still can't believe that we're seriously gonna do this again.
Not the best and brightest country, are we?
Oh my God.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh my God. And so, yeah, I'm not watching it. Okay. What do you guys think?
That informal scientific poll is
Nobody's watching
99.9% no.
Basically, our viewers are not really watching it. Okay, I
Yeah.
do have some. I love my newsies though. I know who my newsies are here. They're like, all right, I'll watch. Okay, you guys let me know how it is. I don't think I'm gonna watch. If
Ricky
I'm
says, just
up,
wish for the lightning bolt with his hand on the drum
I know,
Bible.
right?
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen. But I'll probably do like Kim does. I'll probably get the highlights.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Carrie Underwood singing? Now,
I mean, you would expect it to be a country star, right?
well, yes. And also, I guess like Kid Rock is also going to be performing, which I
Well,
think is
he's a trumper,
hilarious. Yeah, he's a
so
trumper.
that makes
But now
sense.
Carrie Underwood. Now here's the thing. Carrie Underwood said, "I'm humbled to answer the call at a time when we must all come together in the spirit of unity and looking to the future." And I will say this: she actually did. I think during his last term or sometime in between, she did a skit or something that was actually making fun of Trump. She tries to keep her politics kind of under, not being so public with it. I don't know if she's a Trumper or not. She is going to sing. I'm seeing a lot of people saying she sold out.
Mm-hmm.
I
lose
was
respect.
very much my initial reaction was like, ugh. And the Village people too. Yeah. The Village people are also, which is just like, really, but whatever. They also put out a statement saying our song YMCA is a global anthem that hopefully help brings the country together after a tumultuous and divided campaign where our preferred candidate lost. So they're saying that they didn't vote for Trump. They say, therefore, we believe it's now time to bring our country together with music. So they're making it clear we didn't vote for Trump, but we're going to perform. So this idea of, okay, it's an inauguration. It is a big moment. It is a historic moment. I'm going to be part of this historic moment. Can we separate the artist from the politics.
No. As a matter of fact, Jennifer says boycotting Carrie Underwood forever.
Wow. Okay.
Mindy says, I thought I enjoyed Underwood. Not so sure now.
And you know what the funniest thing that I saw? She's like, this is the girl that's saying the whole "When He Cheats" song, right? Like, and it's just really funny that it's all about Trump. Because he's a cheater. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not a huge Carrie Underwood fan anyway. I don't listen to her music regularly. I mean, that song, "When He Cheats" or whatever, it's poppy. So if it comes on the radio, but I have never purchased any of her music in my life. So it's not hard for me to say I'm not going to listen to her music anymore because I never listened to her music anyway.
No.
So it's not, and I'm not boycotting her because I never bought it.
I wasn't her customer anyway.
Exactly. So I'm not, it's not
And
a stretch for me.
the portion of America that is her customer is likely her fan.
Right.
It's like those are likely her people. So whatever.
So
I just
again,
feel like as an artist, if you're performing at an event, your first question is, what's the event? Right? Oh, it's a birthday party. Oh, it's a bar mitzvah. Oh, it's a aid to feed the hungry. Oh, it's a, do they know it's Christmas time in Africa? Whatever it is. Oh, it's farm
right.
aid. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good thing. I can get behind that, whether it's a paid job or a free job. If it's a political event, doesn't it have to come into play that who's the politician? Because you're going to be associated with that person now and believing in them. So
Yeah,
I think
I
it's a
hear what you're
mistake for the
saying.
Village people. I think if Carrie Underwood really wants to keep her politics to herself, then I think it's a mistake.
Yeah, but okay, here's the flip side of that. If it got out that Carrie Underwood was asked and she said no,
Mhm.
wouldn't it do the exact same thing?
Sure, you have to take a side here. And I
Right.
think here's what I think. Taylor Swift came out and said, I'm for Kamala Harris, right?
Right.
I'm with her. There is 0% chance that even she would be asked or that she would ever step forward and perform at a Trump inauguration. Have some convictions and have some standards.
Right.
And now we know what I know about Carrie Underwood now is that her standards are Trump. She is a Trumper. She likes Trump.
Yeah.
She'll be forever connected in my mind to that. So
Right.
if she didn't want me to think that, then
She
she
shouldn't have
should have
performed.
just quietly said, I'm sorry, I'm totally busy that day.
Yeah. I can't. My schedule's totally busy. I have to.
Right.
My kid has to shampoo their hair.
Well,
Yeah.
just
Carrie
book a
Underwood was
concert
American Idol.
somewhere
Yeah.
in Kansas and say, I'm sorry, I've already got a concert booked. My
Yeah,
bad.
something.
Right?
Or I just don't want to. Yeah. It's really, really hard. Yeah. The thing is, and this is the whole, I understand everyone's saying this is a time to resist. This isn't a time to kind of play nice. And I completely agree with you because there are so many things where people are just falling in line, right? So many people are falling in line with this nonsense and we can't let it happen, right? But at the same time, she's a performer. And what I was also thinking about, you've heard of these, Beyoncé's and people that go to these foreign countries and sing for birthday, like rich ass kids'
Right.
birthdays.
Mhm.
And now, do you think that they understand the kid and the politics when they go to those countries? No, probably not. You know what I mean? They don't know. This is obviously different because they do know.
Right.
Maybe she just wanted to be part of history. Maybe she just wanted to be part of something that was huge. You know
She's
what I
gonna have
mean?
she'll be showcased,
Yeah, I mean, I don't
but
know.
this showcase comes with a lot of baggage.
It does. Did you also hear about Mel Gibson, John Voight, and Sylvester Stallone being named the Hollywood envoys by President Trump?
Lord.
And Mel
I s-
Gibson found out by the tweet that announced it. That's how he found out about it, is that Donald Trump, Truth Social tweeted it. And that's how he found out that he was Donald Trump's envoy to Hollywood to bring back Hollywood.
Mel Gibson was on
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. Yeah. Who's like, what career does Mel Gibson have anymore? And
Crazy.
John Voight. I mean, come on now.
Mel Gibson, I think he was affected by the wildfires or had a house that was affected
Yeah,
by
his
the
house burned
wildfires.
down. He was asking
Yeah.
if the ambassador thing or the envoy thing came
Yeah.
with a house. He's like, does it come with a house? Because I need a house. Yeah, his house burned down.
And I was watching some news clip of him recently interviewed. I don't have it. I'm sorry, but he was. I think it might
Is
have
this
been
the
Fox
cancer
News.
thing? Is this the cancer thing?
I don't know, but he was talking about how his house burned down. He was talking about how climate change wasn't involved, and he was, of course, talking about California politics. But he had this mental illness look to him, like,
Oh, he's
um,
nuts.
like his eyes were big, and he was rolling them like he was looking up into the back of his head, and his speech patterns were odd, and his mannerisms were just something where you think he's taking too much medication or not enough. Something's going on with
And
him.
I was so disappointed. I used to love
Yeah.
Mel Gibson. I
Like
mean,
Lethal Weapon, he was in that, right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I used to adore him. That movie, well, Lethal Weapons, I loved. I loved all the Lethal Weapons. That movie, was it What a Woman Wants? I always thought that was such a cute movie that he was in.
Mhm.
I thought he was just back in the day, he was like a heartthrob, right? Like he
Mhm.
just was an actor. He was like a big actor. You know what movie he was also in, which is just so fitting now. He was in that movie Conspiracy Theory with Julia Roberts, which I just think is so funny because he's just that as crazy.
This
Um,
was
but
back when he could keep his politics and his weirdness to himself, but
it's
something
right
happened.
after it was the Christ movie. He went off the deep end. The Passion of the Christ movie.
Yeah.
I think what he just I
See,
don't
I
know what
think it was even
happened.
before then. He got pulled over by the police, and I don't know if he was drunk or
Something
whatnot, but he
happened.
started spouting all this anti-Semitic Nazi kind of stuff, and someone
Uh,
caught it on video or
yes.
something happened, and that's when the crazies let out of the bag. That's
Yeah.
when we know, "Oh, wow, Mel Gibson's nuts."
Yeah.
And it just spiraled from there. Like, once we
He
realized
never
he was
got it back.
nutso, he
Yeah.
could never kinda put it back in under wraps. So it just got
Because
worse from
you
there.
can't put stuff like
Yeah,
that back in the bottle. And
no.
yes, Braveheart, that is an excellent movie.
Totally
I
good
love
movie.
Braveheart. I
Mhm.
always watch it. Patriot was good too with Heath Ledger. Great movie.
Yeah.
But what the hell happened to the
Mhm.
guy? And now but anyways, back to the cancer thing. He was on Joe Rogan. And he's telling Joe Rogan that like one of his friends' cancer was like cured by some sort of drug thing. He's
Yeah,
off his effing rocker.
he's
We're
crazy.
gonna have nutsos in the White House. I mean, I just, if it wasn't my country, if I didn't live here, I would be popping the biggest bag of popcorn the world has ever seen. But it is my country, and I am definitely scared. And I get why Michelle Obama, back to Michelle Obama, is not going. Nancy Pelosi is not going to the inauguration. Now, I think that she has a good excuse because remember, she broke her hip. Remember, she fell
Yeah,
not too long ago. So I think she's
in
using that
Luxembourg. Mhm.
as an excuse, but I think she doesn't want to go. She has a perfect out. She's like, oh
Well, she believes that Trump's rhetoric led to political violence that caused her husband to nearly die
no. Thank
by being
you.
attacked by a crazy guy with a hammer. So, I wouldn't if you truly and Michelle Obama, by the way, believes that the Trump rhetoric about her husband not being, born in Hawaii
Thank
or not being a
you.
true American led to all kinds of threats against her family and could have ended up in another fatal kind of situation. So when you have these women who feel like this man caused threats and violence and potential death to their families,
Not
I
going.
understand. Doesn't the
Yes.
mama bear in you come out, like the protecting person in you come out, and you don't want to have anything to do with that jerk?
Yeah, I want to hear the conversation between Michelle and Barack and her going, I don't give a
I bet
shit.
there was
I
a
am
plan.
not going.
I
I
bet
am not going. You can
uh-uh.
go. You can play a nice. I'm not going, Barack, and you cannot
I
make me. I'm
I
not going.
I bet all he had to do was look at her.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she wa
I
and
ain't
all
going.
it was just one look, and he knew not to go any further,
I
like,
am not
"Hey, let's,
going.
where are we meeting to, go to the funeral?" And she probably just gave him a look, and he knew to walk
Yep.
away.
Like,
Don't even try.
and you don't even have to give anybody an excuse. No is a complete sentence.
Nope.
Nuh-uh, not going.
Well,
Yeah,
you
not
notice she
going.
was polite enough to come up with an excuse for the Carter funeral, but with the Trump inauguration, no
Yeah.
excuse needed. "I'm
No,
just not
no
coming."
excuses. Yes,
"No, thank you." Not
absolutely
even a "no,
not.
thank you," just a, "Michelle Obama will not be able to attend."
And will not be able to attend. Yeah, it
Nope.
does not even send her effing regards.
And by the way, we're keeping our flag at half staff.
Exactly. I mean, the flag thing is so annoying. And he's only doing it because everyone was all gloating about the fact that the flags were out half staff. All these flag people, by the way, that are just like, oh, the flag laws, they don't seem to give a crap. No, it's not. I think it's respectful. We should be keeping them at half staff for Jimmy Carter. I think they will go back down. But they've been up at Mar-a-Lago this whole freaking time. He hasn't been keeping them at half staff at Mar-a-Lago. The soon-to-be president of the United States has not been keeping the American flag at half staff at Mar-a-Lago at all. At all.
Someday, as we all do, years from now, Trump passes away, and the standard is that we keep our flags half staff, all federal flags, right? Is it 30 days? Then I'm going to be hoping that I'm going to be like raising my flag in joyful glee and celebration, likely,
No.
or not. I probably just won't care at all.
The only thing I'm keeping up is my middle finger to him and his freaking motorcade. Like, there you go, buddy. Bye.
Would he want that same treatment? Would he want his own passing to be respected in such a way? And if so, then why wouldn't you respect another president who's passed on?
Thank you, Chad, for the $5 donation. Chad says, Carrie Underwood's a diehard Christian. How do you attend church to learn the teachings of Jesus Christ and support Donald Trump? I agree. I will also say, Kim, to the passing of Donald Trump, I think that if anything is going to have the biggest crowd size that he's ever seen in his entire life, it may just be that. So who knows? I mean, he may get in death what he's always wanted in life. But I don't know. I just feel like he doesn't care about respecting the rules and the norms and being respectful to anybody else. Remember the ship, the SS John McCain, remember? And they had to cover it up because he was all going to be upset about it during his last term because he was all pissed off at John McCain. I mean, all of these things is to protect his tiny witty bitty feelings. You know what I mean? It's so whatever. We're going to have 4 more years of this nonsense. Exactly.
He's a small-minded person
Mm-hmm.
that he would be so affected by something as really honestly unimportant as where the flags are on the pole is quite silly.
You're going to be inaugurated as president of the United States again, and you're paying more attention to a flag at half staff. That is how sensitive you are. That's your strong president, maggots. You know what I mean? Like, that's your strong, sensitive ass president. It is disrespectful, Calvin. It is so, and it's so typical of him, but whatever. Like, we always have to be the adults in the room when the president is there because he's always the child.
He's so opposite of Carter, too. Gordon's comment makes me think of it, that Trump is so unchristian. He says that it ain't funny. But Carter wasn't. Carter was a real Christian.
He was.
Right? I mean, he lived his life by all the tenets that he believed in.
Yep, exactly. Until the day he died.
It's just the comparison of those two being so diametrically opposite.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think that Jimmy Carter probably would look at it and be like, it doesn't matter because everybody knows, that he was that good of a guy, and Trump is just not that guy. He can't hold a flame to Jimmy Carter and everybody knows it. So anyways, I won't be watching. Yeah. Is it Michelle Obama on Trump's hit list? I don't know. Probably. I mean, again, Donald
Trump, enemies list.
Everybody's on it. Everybody's on it that spoke bad about Donald Trump. I'm just, I'm not excited to see. I'm kind of scared to see what Donald Trump does. I do kind of think that Donald Trump is a big bag of air. You know what I mean? Like, I hope so because he's been talking a very big game. The whole lock her up type of nonsense, right? Like, he's got a big job to do. He forgets that there's campaigning. Then there's actually running a country. Yeah. Now, he's done it before, so it's not like he's, running blind here. But remember, he didn't really do it last time either. Remember? He wouldn't read the briefings. Everybody was like, he doesn't know what he's doing. So it's not actually like he knows what he's doing because he didn't really do it last time. So, but he knows, his way around the White House. That's for sure. And I guess Melania's coming back too. So
she is coming back now?
Apparently so. She's like, I know my way around the White House. She gave some sort of interview that I saw. So I don't know. Apparently she's coming back.
Calvin says it's the return of the Diet Coke button.
Jesus. Oh, yeah. She gave an interview. Melania says, and I'm going to be bringing back Be Best. I'm like,
Oh
please
God.
give me a break. Be Best.
It didn't work last time.
What did
How
you
can you
do? What
how
did Be
can
Best
you
do?
I mean, how can you be best when you truly are the very worst?
Be Best is just, it's improper English. Like, Be Best. Be. It's so stupid.
These are the people that when you don't agree with them, they call and threaten your life,
So stupid.
right? They
It's
send
so
people to
stupid.
throw rocks through your windows and light your lawn on fire. Be best indeed,
Be-
Melania.
Oh my God. Be Bester.
I don't know how she can say it with a straight face. Be bester.
Oh gosh, I know. Oh, and yeah, like, and then, yeah, she's a B word. Gordon, Bondi lied up the kazoo. Oh yeah, the attorney general. She's gonna get confirmed though. Bondi, I saw one analysis that was saying she was so scared of saying anything that would piss Trump off. You know, when they were like, "Could you go up against him and tell him what he's about to do is illegal?"
Right.
I don't want to talk about hypotheticals against the president. That basically she's saying that would never do anything wrong.
Right.
She is going to be, I don't think, an attorney general that's going to be able to stand up to Donald Trump. You know what I mean? And that's scary. You need an attorney general that, one, knows the law. The laundry list of conflicts of interest with this woman is long. I don't know. I don't have much confidence in his cabinet picks at all,
No.
but he's got him and he has the majority. And it doesn't seem like, and they're just going to go in. I mean, Hegseth, that was ridiculous. Did you see the guy that yelled like misogynist at him when he was like trying to do his statement and everything like that? But Hegseth is probably going to get in. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Marco Rubio's going to get in. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, who's not going to get in? RFK is going to be an interesting thing to watch. But I don't see anybody not getting in.
I wonder
Honestly,
if
I have no faith.
I wonder if RFK Jr. is smart enough to tamp down his crazy. Like if he knows that he's got to play ball with them, and so he
But
really
if
isn't
Trump
gonna.
wants him, I don't see the Republicans saying no is the problem. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? It doesn't
No,
matter
no.
if he's crazy.
No.
They have the votes. So
Well,
if there's
they're
no
being
Republicans
threatened.
that are going to stand up,
They're
then
being threatened with being primaried.
thank you.
You saw, was it Joni Ernst? She's the victim of a sexual assault. She's a member of the military. This is a woman who is, should stand against everything that Hegseth stands for.
Yeah.
And
she's
she was threatened with being primaried by Trump. And so now she's standing firmly in line behind him saying,
because
okay, sir,
yep.
I'll vote the way you want me to vote so I can keep my job. Is that for yourself?
Yes.
Or
That's
are you
all they
working-
care
Are
about.
you working for yourself, or are you working on behalf of your constituents and America? Because if you were working on behalf of America and doing your job as a senator where we sent you to do, whether you serve for one term or however many, even if you got primaried, you would be doing the job of the American people to say this guy isn't qualified to be the Secretary of Defense. And we all know that he's not. One look at the guy when he was talking to was it Duckworth? Senator Duckworth was asking questions. He didn't know half the stuff she was talking about.
Yeah, she was like questioning him on like these like three branches of something, and he didn't know him. But I will say this: one person was, I think it was actually Mark Cuban, was criticizing Democrats, and he did have a point. He's like, stop like trying to nail him on all these other things. Question him about the job, because like Tammy Duckworth was doing. Do more of that. Question him about, what about this? What is that? Show how incompetent he is about what the job is, because he doesn't have the higher up experience. That's what they should have been doing to make him look like a moron. But I go back to my original comment. It doesn't matter to these Republicans, because if Trump wants him, he's going to get him. That's it.
Do you think that, this is pie in the sky thinking right here. Do you think that Trump supporters who watched the Hegseth hearing and realized, maybe if they realized it, that he is absolutely not qualified and comes off as one of these privileged people who's just given a job because of money and connections and has zero capability to do the actual work, the important work for Americans, that your you were supporting a president who makes this kind of selection.
That's what Trump
doesn't that
is, Kim.
but
That's
doesn't that
literally what
reflect
Trump
on,
is, though.
doesn't it reflect on Trump that he picked such a poor candidate?
That's them picking Trump as president. Trump is just
No.
an unqualified rich guy in the White House that has no effing idea what he's doing, Kim. So of course
You're
they
so
would support him. That's
sorry.
literally what they
That's
did.
silly. I was asking people who selected a poor candidate to be upset about their poor candidate selecting a poor candidate. Got it.
No, they like that. They like unqualified people that don't know what the hell they're doing to be in
That's
high
hilarious.
positions of power. Apparently that's what they go for. They love that. They like
So
people to
do
learn on
me.
the job, you know? Like, yeah,
How could
that's
I
what they
have been
like.
so stupid?
That's literally what they like. Yeah, they don't care. They don't care at all. That's so yeah. You answered your own question.
Oh, that's funny.
I think it's at the top of their wish list, apparently. But yeah, it's so yes, to answer your question, that's what they like. I don't know I don't know. But the thing is, remember with Trump, he kept firing people at the beginning. So who knows how long these people are gonna last? You know, like I don't think we should be.
They can do a crap job as long as they're loyal to him. That's all he cares about.
Maybe,
right?
but if they bring bad headlines, like there is doing a crap job, and then there's bringing bad headlines to him. So, you know, it's
Like,
this, that, and the
was it
other.
Carter, was it Ben? Oh, Ben someone. The guy who would order the expensive dining room table. on the
Carson, Ben
furniture?
Carson,
Carson, thank you.
the brain surgeon that was an idiot. Remember?
Please don't operate on my brain,
Yes,
sir.
exactly. He was so
Yeah.
stupid.
And he made the bad headlines and he had to go.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, he
know.
wasn't very, very smart. I mean, he was smart on the brain surgery side, but the rest of it, he wasn't very smart. But yeah, it's again, it would be funny if they weren't running our country, but they are. Yeah, Tammy Duckworth was amazing, but again, we needed more of her, you know. But she came from a position of knowledge, and not everybody that was questioning Hegseth came from that position. Bondi sucked ass, but you know, she's just.
You know what?
I don't
She
know why
doesn't
she was
seem like.
chosen.
And I mean, I know that she may not be the best and brightest because of her political persuasion, but she doesn't seem like a complete idiot to
Why?
me. Like the way she answered questions.
She didn't answer the questions.
Right,
She didn't
she
even
was
know what the
combative.
14th Amendment was. I need to read up on the 14th Amendment. You're going to be the Attorney General.
No,
You should know what
she
the 14th
said I
Amendment
need to
is.
read up on the 14th Amendment because she didn't want to answer questions about
Exactly.
the fact that the 14th Amendment is applicable to Trump, that he shouldn't be the president. So, you know, what could she have? She had to find a way to get herself out of it. I don't know.
I mean, she wasn't going to say anything. None of the nominees said anything. And that's what you do. But it shouldn't be like this. Politics in the United States shouldn't be like this. If you were going to be the nominee for a position like Attorney General or Treasury Secretary or whatever, you should answer these questions and you should want to. That's where politics needs to return to. And I know I'm being Pollyanna-ish, and I know we're decades away from where it used to be like this, right? The days of, Ruth Bader Ginsburg being approved by 96% of Republicans and Democrats, right? Like those days are gone. The days of when we used to like put these positions on a pedestal and want and revere and want to like have consensus. But now it's just, no, if it's a Democrat, we are against them. If we're Republicans and vice versa. It sucks. It sucks.
Okayest Mama Ever says something I had told earlier to Michael Schur today. We had David Katz on, and he was saying, they're talking about Bondi. And David Katz was saying, well, she's better than Gates. And I texted Michael Schur, well, that's a pretty low bar. Like, if you're better than Gates, that's really not saying much.
Basically.
Mama says not being a complete idiot is a pretty low bar.
Yeah, there is no bar. Remember, there was no bar with Trump. There's no bar with Trump. So he gets to do nothing, right? And that's the same as it was with Biden and Kamala Harris. There was literally a high bar for all of them. Trump just needed to breathe.
Yeah.
And he did better than them. So again, because Republicans have no standards. They have no standards. And I'm not trying to be mean to conservatives and Republicans, but your bar keeps changing.
Yeah.
All of your standards keep changing, right? You believe in the flag unless it's at half-staff for your president, right? You believe in protecting the children. You protect the women unless your president does something against them, unless Matt Gaetz is sleeping with 17-year-olds, unless, priests are sleeping with children, unless all of these things are happening, right? Unless it's a Republican doing the crime, then you don't care, right? So the hypocrisy of your party. Democrats, sometimes we vilify our people too quickly.
Yeah.
Honestly, at least we hold ourselves to a standard.
Right.
You guys never do.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks about
Yeah.
Republicans in this day and age. And I wish that you guys would go back to the day and age in which you actually believed in the things that you spouted.
Yeah.
So at least some of you, at least in power. I'm sure there's many Republicans that still do, but there's not enough of you, and not enough of you to make a difference. At least you guys need to be louder. At least.
Do you
I don't
think
know.
there's anything to Kevin's comment?
Hmm.
Obviously not. We're not in a, well, I mean, you could say we were in a violent civil war on January 6th of last year. Or not last year.
Well,
but
I wouldn't say it was a civil war. It was an attack on the Capitol.
We're so opposed, and that we're also opposed to unity because we can't possibly believe in a president that's this awful, that we're somehow in a psychological civil war against each other, or a social civil war against each other, or I don't know.
I don't know if we're in a civil war. I feel like that's an interesting question. I wonder if I really do, and I hate giving him this much power, but I really do think it really does revolve around Donald Trump. I really do think that he has this, cult of personality. I don't think that a Vance or a Patel or even an Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk has money. He does not have the cult of personality that Donald Trump does for some freaking reason. I don't get it. I really don't get it. He's not. I don't get
Isn't
it.
it weird? I
It
don't even
is
think
so
he has that great of a
weird.
personality.
Yeah, I don't get it. But I don't think that he would have it. I don't think that Elon Musk would have it. I really don't. Because Elon Musk is really weird, and I just don't think that he would have it. But what I'm saying is, I do think that Trump has this lock on people that once you take him out, I'd be hard pressed to see who the head of the snake who would be able to pop up, right? So maybe
They're saying that Vance is the next person.
Vance is not likable. That's the problem. Now, the political party, the political machine, the kind of the workings of politics, what they have in place might screw us, right? But I don't think him, the person, does that make sense? Him, the person, I don't think will have the lock on it as much. So if you can get a really charismatic Democrat that can convince people, I think they can knock Vance out of the way more than Trump could take on somebody. Does that make sense? Vance is not, in my opinion, charismatic at all. At least
No, he isn't. But what I've heard about him is that what the establishment likes is he will be whoever you want him to be, and he will do whatever you want him to do. That's it.
Yeah,
there's nothing inside. It's like an empty shell. He's a total tool for the establishment. Whatever you want, that's what he'll do. That's it.
Yeah, but that's not going to please the hardliners. And if you flip-flop too much, like remember what happened with Trump and Elon Musk and the whole, H-1B visas, right? That was a really hard thing that Trump still honestly has to navigate with MAGA and some of his other voters, right? So there are decisions that you have to make that Vance will not be able to just be to everybody. So no, you can't be everything to everybody, especially in a time when Republicans want you to take a side.
Yeah.
Vance is weird. I'm sorry. Vance is an odd duck.
He
doesn't have a long history. Donald Trump has a long storied history with Americans. Who the F is Vance? You know what I mean? He does not have a Hollywood kind of, again, he's not Donald Trump. He doesn't have, what the hell is that on Donald Trump's ear? Again, and this is that, again, and the quote unquote assassination attempt that was not. Like, again, all of this is total bullshit. Like, The investigation into that was nothing. Like, I'm just sorry.
Well, listen to this story out of Politico. Vance hosted a very fancy $250,000 a plate fundraiser in Palm Beach on Friday in Florida, according to someone who attended. The event was at a very fancy French restaurant. And they say, according to Politico, it's an early example of Vance's desire to position himself as the heir apparent to Trump
Of
and his
course.
America First political movement.
Of course.
Yeah,
Obviously, he's vice president. And he
yeah.
wants attention. Everyone's paying attention to Trump and Elon Musk. You don't think that Vance is like, hello, I'm vice president?
I think he's going to be fundraiser in chief. I think that's going to be Vance's
yeah.
job. And he'll be raising money, which then will give him some clout and some power that he's able to pull in that kind of
Yeah,
cash. And
he
then
should
he
be.
becomes Trump, 3.0, which is scary.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, again, we have to keep our eye on him. I'm not going to poo-poo everything that you're saying. Again, the
Mhm.
vice presidency is kind of this post that's this non-post post, right? I mean,
Mhm.
what do? You support the president and everything that he does. And like you said, you raise money and you support the president and everything that he does, and you're the face of it. And that's
Yeah.
what Vance is going to do. But is he going to be charismatic? Is he going to be able to do? I do think that the problem with JD Vance is that he's caught in these lies and I don't feel like he worms his way out of them as well as, he doesn't lie as well as Donald Trump does. I don't know.
Mhm.
But maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We have to keep an eye on him. Again, I don't trust any of them. They're all effing liars. So what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't trust any of them. They're all hypocrites and they suck. So,
Mhm.
but again, we're not watching the inauguration. Oh, and the other thing that people are doing is they're deleting Facebook, right? Instagram,
Yep.
TikTok's supposed to go away on Sunday. I'm actually very excited about this. So,
I don't think it's going away.
I know. Well, I don't think so either, but I'm telling my children that they have to delete it off their phones. But so ever as a protest against, Meta and all those, everyone's from Sunday to Sunday, basically, everyone's going to stop using or whatever. Now I post all the shows and everything on there, so I don't know if I'm really going to do it, but that's what that people are going to try to do this kind of blackout on Meta and Instagram and those sorts of things to kind of take it to Mark Zuckerberg and all those other supporters. I don't know how much that's really going to do anything to them. I mean, Elon Musk and X, they suck. I only honestly use X on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Honestly, I like Blue Sky. That's what I try to use during the week. I'm on Blue Sky. If anybody is not on Blue Sky, go on Blue Sky. It is so much better over there. It is such a shit show on X. I only go on X to kind of get the Republican nut crazies on right before I come on here. Like, really, honestly, that's really all I do is I look up and I'm like, oh, let me get a couple of videos off X. That's all. That's literally all the only time I try to give Elon Musk any of my eyeballs. But
Sue-Ann says she's deleting her Washington Post subscription on Monday.
Really?
I saw someone earlier today say they're taking a stand and not using Amazon anymore because of Bezos.
I know. I hate
That's a hard
Bezos
one.
too. That's a hard one. It's such a habit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's such
so
a habit.
easy. You order it, it comes to your door 2 days later
Yeah.
or a
And
day later.
And Gordon says TikTok kids are moving to a China app. I know, it's like
Yeah.
read something or whatever. They're such idiots. I was having this conversation with my coworkers, and it's so funny because I was trying to tell them, like, TikTok, like, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. And they're like, I'm not giving any dollars to Mark Zuckerberg. And I'm like, so you want to give it to TikTok? Like what?
Right.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They're all getting your data, right? But I was trying to explain the whole China has your data and who knows what they're going to do with it. And China doesn't even allow their citizens to have Facebook or X. Like, think about that, right? Like, they don't want us to have their citizens' data. So this kind of reciprocal type of thing, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, I'd rather give China. And it was so funny. My coworker's like, I would rather have a little Chinese man have my data. I'm like, it's not a little Chinese man that has your data, sweetheart. Oh, it is literally the Chinese government that would have your data, but whatever. But yeah, people just don't see it that way. It's capitalism at its finest. People on
Wow.
TikTok make money on TikTok and they don't
Mhm.
care what they're giving up in turn. And
Right.
and that's all social media. We
Mhm.
give up our data because we want it for free. Okay. But what we're giving it is to the Chinese government, and they can use it and learn from us what they will. Now, whether you think that is a national security risk is up to you, I guess, right? Whether you believe it's a national security risk is up to you. I mean, they can get it from all sorts of places. We give China all sorts of data. Every time you buy something, right? And from a
Yeah.
Chinese company, and we buy all sorts of shit, you're telling China something about you.
Yep.
So it's not like they aren't learning something about Americans all the time. So is it just TikTok? I would say that they're learning a lot about Americans from TikTok. A
Mhm.
lot, a lot. So do I think it's a good idea for TikTok to be bought by Mr. Beast, or I don't want it to be bought by Elon Musk. That's for gosh darn sure.
Well, I
But
think that's why, Trump in his last administration and beyond had said TikTok has to go. It's a national security risk. It's got to go.
yeah,
And
I
he was the
mean,
one that threatened to get rid of it. So now that we're getting rid of it, Trump has realized, oh, look what happened with X.
exactly.
Musk bought X, and we had and I've got my Truth Social, and we're controlling our own narrative, and now we know how many users are on TikTok. Let's snap that up. So I think Trump wants the Supreme Court to hold now for 30 to
Mhm.
90 days the
Yep.
sale of TikTok, so that Musk can sweep in,
Mhm.
snap it up, and
Yep.
they'll have yet another outlet
Another
to pour their
to
lies on.
control all of the
Mhm.
information. And
That's right.
who's going to stop them? Who's going to, of course, he's going to give Elon Musk the chance to buy it. And
Yeah.
Elon Musk should not be allowed to buy it because
So if
Elon Musk should be broke.
if
He's took X into the gutter, right? He has SpaceX, but of course, he's going to be able to take out a loan on some sort of like
Mhm.
investment dollars, which we can't do, but Elon Musk can do. It is scary what they're going to allow this guy to do. And if
so
Elon Musk takes TikTok, I would delete it so effing quickly. So
TikTok will
quickly.
will become part of American state media.
Yep.
That's what will happen. Yeah.
And so I mean, but again, I think that if Elon Musk took it over, I think that would also give a lot of people pause. But again, capitalism, if they keep it going, then they may be happy. So I don't know. I'm just saying I would rather China not sell and us get rid of it. That's
Mhm.
what I would prefer. That's what I'm actually rooting for, is
Yeah.
for China to be like, no, it's not for sale. It's our company. And so, no, I'm not selling it. That's what I would hope. Even Chuck Schumer is calling for a pause in it. It's insane. It's such BS. It's not our company. This is just me talking. Let China take it. Bye. Figure it
Yeah.
out. Figure it out another way. YouTube can do its shorts and Instagram will have its reels, and the earth will continue to spin on its axis, and you'll figure it out. And yes, people are going to have to move things over. And I know I'm speaking as someone that doesn't make all their money on TikTok, and it's going to, people are going to feel it. And I understand that that's a pain, but I'm just speaking. In my opinion, I just don't think that TikTok should be in Elon Musk's hands, and I think that that's where it's going if it
Yeah.
doesn't happen this other way. So, but yeah, it's definitely scary. So that's gonna happen over the weekend. What else happened? Oh, and the other thing that's gonna happen tomorrow, I forgot to mention, and I know somebody mentioned it before the show started. And if anybody doesn't live in the Bay Area, this probably means nothing to you. Former Oakland Mayor Shang Tao has been indicted. So we're gonna find out what the hell she
But we don't
actually
know
did.
we don't know exactly why.
Well, it's criminal, obviously.
They
She's been
don't
indicted on criminal charges.
they don't say a lot. We
They said
know from
nothing. I don't
the
think they indicted her and
investigation.
didn't
And
release the information. I hate
remember
that.
when they raided her house, and
Yes.
she got all upset about this, and she came out and she said, I've done nothing wrong, and they're trying to target me because it's the old boys group and I'm a woman
Right.
of color and what have you. But she was allegedly linked to some type of campaign finance
Yes.
misuse. Like
Right.
there were a
Donations and
bunch of
everything like
people
that.
in
Yes.
garbage company and whatever
Yeah.
have, yeah. But the Chronicle is citing anonymous sources, because we don't even have a confirmation.
They haven't, they haven't released any of the details. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be getting the details of all this indictment stuff.
But the Chronicle says she's been criminally indicted by a federal grand jury. So, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, she's not mayor anymore. So, I'll say this, and I'm not wishing her harm, but this is what I'm saying. This is going to sound bad. I would hope she did something criminal because they took her effing job away from her. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't raid a woman's home while she's, in this political fight if she didn't commit a crime. I would hope you did not raid a woman's home and you didn't have something on her, because that would suck so bad. Yeah. So I was really hoping she did do something. I'm sorry, because that sounds bad for her. But I was really hoping she did do something, because if she didn't, that would have really sucked, because she was fighting for her job.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, in quotes, that they found a crime on her, because if they didn't, you really screwed this woman out of her job. And that sucks. But because I don't know, again, if you don't follow it, she was quite adamant and pissed off after they raided her home, and she came out swinging, and we're going to fight. And, I can't catch a break. And she was pissed to high heaven. So I can't wait to see. I think it has obviously to do with campaign finance problems.
I'm
and
looking
things
forward
like
to hearing
that,
the evidence against Sheng Tao.
So we will see. We shall see. We shall see. But it's going to be quite interesting to see. Again, I don't know. Gordon's like, she lied. Calvin's like, oh, she said it was all the boyfriend and not her. She's a liar. Oakland has issues. Yeah. They got issues. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. But I wish her luck, and we will see, and we will talk about it next. We will talk about it next week. Have a good root beer and some ice cream. Gotta go. Bye, Ricky. Bye, Ricky. I have one more fun thing to discuss before we let you go, though.
And then I also have a crazy story. It's just a short one too. So
okay, good. Well, I have a question. This is a weird thing that I saw in the headlines, and I wanted to get your take as a mom. Okay, this is a mom thing. Okay, I saw this in an article. It has to do with former governor, first lady, right? Maria Shriver, California. Okay. She did this article where she was talking about how children show respect. Okay. And so she says that the way she had her kids show her respect was she makes them stand up every time she enters the room.
Are you kidding
This
me?
is what she says. She says, I make them stand up. I used to make them. Now they just do it. They just stand up.
What, like they're in the military, like stand up when the officer comes in?
Yeah. So she says, and the rule also applied to Dad Arnold Schwarzenegger and any other adult entering the room. She says, I wanted my kids to, when I walked in the room, or their dad walked in the room, or you walk in the room, that they stand up out of respect. Even friends who were visiting were asked to stand out of respect for the adults in the family. She explained that she got the idea from her own mom, who expected it out of all of her children, who was big on manners. I didn't want to walk in the room and they'd be sitting looking at their phone or watching the game. I'd be like, I'm here. Here we are. Here I am. Look me in the eye. Say hello. Thank me for coming. Write me a thank you note if I take you somewhere.
Yes to all of that. No to the standing up. Yes to you acknowledge someone when they walk in a room.
Right.
Yes to calling someone Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. until they tell you otherwise.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So, like, I would expect my kids to say Mrs. Maduro until you say, call me Nikki.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So that's showing respect to you.
Right.
But standing when you walk in a room, I mean, obviously you don't sass or backtalk a grown-up.
Right.
If a grown-up is hurting you, you have every reason and right to defend yourself.
Yeah.
So there's a fine line there. But as far as showing respect to an adult, I think it's enough to address them, by their last name.
And saying hello, like, hi, how are you?
With eye contact.
Yes.
And yes, to say thanks for coming over or whatever. Your manners are one thing, but standing up in some kind of strange ritual, God, can you imagine being shell shocked every time somebody walks in your room? You're up, you're down, you're up, you're
That's what
down.
I kept
It's like
thinking.
worse than
Like, what
math.
if people kept coming and you're like every like
No.
if you were having a party and like every couple of minutes, like there was a gap, and you're just like,
This
if
is a
anybody goes to
home.
church, it's stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down.
We relax here. We relax. I don't want people to be constantly on edge, wondering when the next time they have to leap out of their chair is.
Exactly. I was
That's
just
weird.
cracking. It
Would your
was a
kids
little
look at you
much.
sideways if you asked them to do that? Because mine would laugh.
Oh my, if I ask my children to do that. Now, I do want my kids to acknowledge when people, I always say, I'm like, we say hi, like go say hi. And especially when we go to my parents' house, like we give them a hug and,
Sure. Yeah.
you acknowledge and we say bye, like we don't just leave, right? Like those sort of Kim Jong Shiver. That's funny. But I will say this, and the reason why I also wanted to bring it up is because this is one of the things that I constantly have at my school. I
Yeah.
have these debates with the kids that come into my office about respect. And I will say this, it's a different kind of conversation because it's between student and teacher and not parent, right? And
Sure.
so it's very interesting when I'm talking with kids, especially when they don't care for their teacher, about where the conversation went wrong. And it often starts with, well, they were rude to me. You know what I mean? And it's always like, well, they didn't respect me when I spoke to them. And I always found it kind of hard to explain to them this idea that you give them respect first and then they speak respectfully to you. And sometimes with these kids, they just don't get that.
They're raised differently. I think we were raised in an
Yes.
era where an adult does not have to show respect to you. The ones
No.
that do are the ones you like.
Right.
But you don't expect to get respect from an adult. You show it because that's how we treat our elders. But if a teacher says,
Get your
you
seat.
call me
And
Ms. So-and-so, well, she's
sternly.
calling you by your first name. There's a balance of power thing there
Yes,
where one
exactly.
person must show respect and the other one hopefully does. But if they say something mean to you, you don't come back at the same level. You're not on the same level as
It's
them.
exactly. And it's this dynamic of, and I don't know if it's a generational thing or what, but it's very hard sometimes to get
Mhm.
across to children. And I don't think it's just this school. I think I'm not going to say it's also this entire generation, but I think among some kids, it's this idea of, well, they didn't talk to me respectfully, so
Mhm.
I'm not going to talk to them respectfully. And it's like, well, wait a minute. And I don't know if it's how they're raised or whatever, but it's like you have to, they're your parent or they're your
Right.
teacher or they're an adult. And so it was very interesting does it start with at home making your kid stand or making your kid acknowledge any adult when they
Right.
enter the room. And that adult won't stand for you when you enter the room, but
No.
you're going to do it for that adult when they enter the room. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really interesting thing. I was like, but I could totally see Maria Shriver's kids just like stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. I'm like, okay, whatever.
How awful. Like, that's not a home. That's just that's not a comfortable
She's
place to
actually a
be.
really nice lady. She used to come into the station in Sacramento all the time. She's actually a really, really nice lady. But
God
yeah, I was
forbid
just
you didn't stand up. She thought poorly of you.
I usually was standing when I saw her, but yeah, you're
Lord.
really, really funny. All right, what's your story?
Okay, here's my story.
Okay.
The absolute cojones on this person who
Ooh,
decided that they were going to allegedly drive a fake CHP patrol car
I was
through
gonna say,
Marin
is that
County.
real? Oh, how
It is
funny.
not real. The decals look real. It kind of looks real. But
Kind
when
of.
you run the license plate, this Chevy Camaro with the CHP logos on the side, nope, the license plate came back. That's not a CHP car. The
Oh my
officers
gosh.
didn't recognize the guy who was driving. His name was Matthew Connolly. He's 25 years old. He was driving this car through San Rafael.
Oh,
And
how
the real
funny.
cops were, go alongside of him and they look over and they're like, who's that guy? We don't know that guy. He was driving on 580 on the overpass in San Rafael near Bellum Boulevard when officers from the San Rafael Police Department saw him. The car's an older model. The CHP used this a decade ago. So this is an old model.
Oh, so it actually was used like a long time ago?
This particular model of Camaro, not this particular car.
Oh, okay.
So at first, the officer apparently thought it was a real CHP car, and he waved over like, "Hey, one officer waving to the other." And while he's waving, he notices the driver's not wearing a uniform. He does not appear to be a CHP officer. So they make a U-turn and inspect further. And they run the plate and they say the plate was not registered with any state law enforcement agency or
Oh,
with the state
no.
with the CHP rather. So they make a traffic stop believing that it's someone impersonating an officer and illegally driving a vehicle falsely marked as a police car. And when they pull him over, Connolly admits that he put the CHP decals on his Camaro.
Honey.
He said he did it for a car show. Officer said, no, this is
No.
not used in a car show because you recently got this car from an impound yard. And so it's impounded again.
Oh,
The
no.
vehicle is a goner.
Did he get arrested? Do you get arrested for something like that?
I believe that he was taken into custody. He was arrested for allegedly driving a fake CHP car through San Rafael. He was
Yeah, I
arrested
mean-
for allegedly impersonating a police officer, and he was booked
Yeah.
into the Marin County Jail.
I
Can
mean,
you
'cause you
imagine?
could like, I mean, I would say if somebody pulled up next to me, I mean, I guess if he wasn't wearing a uniform,
Mhm.
but still, you hear those scary stories of people pretending to be cops and they pull
Totally.
chicks over or something and possibly assault them or do something like that. I mean, geez. But that's funny. I don't know if I would buy that was a cop car though. That doesn't look like. I mean, besides the decal,
It's
that
got
does
a
not look like
dent
a
on
cop
the
car at all.
side. You see the
I'm
dent
like,
on
no
the
way.
back.
I know, right? Like,
Yeah.
what'd you hit? What did you hit? And also, like, cops know each other. I'm watching this show with my son. I don't know if you. We're watching season 1, but there's many seasons. The Rookie. It's been out
Oh,
for a long
I
time.
used to really like that show.
So
I
we're
like
just starting
I
it.
like the lead. I like the main character.
Yeah. So we're Dylan and I are just starting it, and so I'm learning through this show. The
his name?
cops all
Nathan
know each
something.
other. So I
Mhm.
don't know why this kid would think that the cops are not going to know just by
Nathan
like
Fillion.
driving next to each other.
Yeah.
Like, yo, dude, I know if you're supposed to be a cop in my town, whether or not you're supposed to be driving next to me. So
There's
no.
something about Nathan Fillion that
Is
I
that the
don't know.
guy? Is
Yeah,
that's the main guy. Okay.
he's got a face or an attitude or something that like
I
makes
think
you
it's his
just,
nose. Like he looks like he's not traditionally handsome,
you
but
just like him.
yeah.
I think he's a really good looking guy.
Yeah. Oh, Vanessa thinks he's a hottie too. There you
Yeah.
go. I have never. Yeah, there he is. Dylan just randomly like started watching this show. He's like, "Let's watch The Rookie," and I was like, "All right, okay." So,
Got a nice neck.
Kim likes his Adams.
I was trying to make it bigger. That's too big.
But yeah, it's really fun. Yeah, we're still on season 1, so we've just kind of started it. But yeah, we're starting that. But yeah, that guy's a
I
moron,
like that
so.
show. I watched it until we dropped cable, and then I lost all. I had been DVRing it, and I lost all my DVRs. But I know I can find it again. But yeah, I thought that was good. Yeah.
It's really, really good. So
Mhm.
I like it. We're watching The Rookie. So that's another good show that we're watching. And what else am I watching right now? I'm watching Deal or No Deal Island, and I'm watching.
What is that?
You know Deal or No Deal. You know the show Deal or No Deal?
I don't think I've ever even seen it. I've
It's
heard
like
of it.
It's like with briefcases, and you choose a number, and there's like and there's money inside. Anyways,
Okay.
they're on an island. It mixes Survivor with Deal or No Deal. It's stupid.
Oh.
I watched that, and then I'm watching Traders. If there's any Traders watchers, anyways, it's really
You know
I
what?
watch crap TV shows to take
When
my
I
mind off
watch-
Trump.
I watched Landman.
My mom and dad love Landman.
It's interesting because you kind of are learning about this world that maybe you don't really have any knowledge of. It's all about like the Texas oil trade and
Yeah.
And so these characters are interesting and gritty, and it's got Billy Bob Thornton in it.
Yes, that's who
And
it
it's
is. That's who it
only
is.
like, I think they made 8 episodes so far for season 1, and
My
it's
mom
kind of
keeps talking
interesting.
about it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
should watch it because you're the second, besides my mom. She's
Oh,
mentioned it many
man.
times, but you're the second one that's mentioned it. So I
Yeah,
guess I
it's
should
not a
start
bad
watching that.
I mean, it's not the best thing I've ever seen, but it's interesting enough, so
Yeah, I have to watch TV to get my mind off the
totally.
world around us. Okay, so don't watch the inauguration. We will commiserate next week with our cocktails. I thank everybody for being
Oh,
here.
I'll be having a real cocktail next week.
Yes, indeed. She'll get over her hangover from last Thursday. Thank you, Chad, so much for the $5 donation. And yeah,
Oh, thank
I mean,
you.
let's not judge those that decide to go to the inauguration. We just won't be there, right? We just won't be there.
Yeah.
We're gonna pull a Michelle. That's what I'm calling it. We're just not gonna go. And thank you
Michelle.
everybody from supporting us. Please, if you can, go to thenikkimadoroshow.com, thenikkimadoroshow.com. Our Patreon is there. Plus all of the ways to support the show. It's always in the show notes. Like if you're on YouTube, it's all in the show notes. So the super chat is also always live, even if you're watching the recording, which many of you do. So you can donate so many different ways. We're 100% crowdfunded, and we appreciate each and every one of you that support us. Also, PayPal is a great way to support the show. They take the least amount from us. So we absolutely love PayPal as well.
I think
And we appreciate it.
look at us and go, well, what could they have to pay for? Because they're just at their home getting on the internet. But we have a platform that we use called StreamYard
that raised the rates.
Raise their rates. You have to pay for that every month. We have a website that we have to pay for.
The whole thing costs money.
Podcast platform to pay for. The whole
everything
is not free.
It's not free. And Google always takes their fair share because Google always takes their fair share. But we appreciate you guys, and we love doing this for you, and we love being here. And so we want to continue being here. So if you can support us, we love you guys and we appreciate it. Also, we have a sponsor, Auntie Tabby's Island Flavor Barbecue Sauce. So if you want to support her, she supports us. Just go to auntietabbies.com. And if you use the coupon code NIKKIM, NIKKIM, you get 10% off every single time you order. So just go to auntietabbies.com and get that guava barbecue sauce. It's perfect on fish, chicken, beef, anything. It's finger looking good. All right, you guys. So we will be back here next Thursday commiserating. Next Thursday, Trump should be arriving the following day. So we'll be drinking heavily. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. We'll just be drinking heavily. And I appreciate all of you so very much.
The support group. We're all going to need each other. Come on back here Thursday at 5.
It's going to be starting.
Yeah.
This time next week. Oh my God. All right. I can't believe you guys are making us go through this again. Not you guys. The other people. The other people. All right. I love you. We'll get through this together. Mwah. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.